Welcome to this brief lecture titled Infrastructuring Empowerment. In this session, we draw on insights from the Reroute project to highlight the role of newcomers' active agency in shaping their social reproduction and fostering reciprocal inclusion. This builds upon and expands the concept of incorporation discussed in the previous policy brief on integration. By centering migrant agency, we propose a conceptual advancement from passive state-led inclusion to co-constructed socio-spatial justice, in which newcomers are recognized as crucial transformative actors in the pursuit of more inclusive, equitable, and resilient societies. In mainstream discourse, integration is often narrowly defined as the process through which newcomers adjust to the dominant norms of the host society. This view overlooks the rational and reciprocal nature of belonging. Reroute proposes a conceptual shift to incorporation which more accurately captures the co-production of shared places, rights, and responsibilities by both newcomers and arrival societies, encompassing both inclusion and belonging. Incorporation does not expect conformity, rather, it entails mutual transformation and shared responsibility. It recognizes that belonging is not something to be imposed or assimilated into, but built collaboratively through sustained interaction, negotiation, and recognition. Building further on this, empowerment takes incorporation a step further. It is not simply about being included, it is about having the capacity to act, influence, and reshape systems. Empowerment centers the agency of newcomers, acknowledging their contribution as political actors and social innovators. Empowerment builds upon incorporation by centering the agency and creativity of newcomers in shaping the systems they inhabit. For Reroute, empowerment is not solely the outcome of formal programs, but emerges through the everyday collective, often informal, practices by which newcomers construct viable futures under exclusionary conditions. Across its research sites, Reroute has documented how newcomers establish informal economies, legal aid networks, grassroots housing models, and mutual support systems. These infrastructuring practices, termed minor integrations, challenge the assumption that inclusion must originate from formal institutions. Crucially, empowerment shifts the policy question away from how do we integrate them to how do we support what they are already building. Rather than absorbing grassroots efforts into rigid structures, Reroute advocates for policy frameworks that recognize, sustain, and protect newcomer-led initiatives respecting their autonomy. Despite the agency demonstrated by newcomers, systemic barriers continue to inhibit empowerment across Europe. Legal precarity, complex bureaucratic procedures, and discriminatory mobility regimes limit access to rights, services, and formal employment. Many newcomers remain trapped in protracted legal limbo without residency or work permits. Housing markets are often exclusionary, while newcomers are frequently confined to informalized and often exploitative labor sectors. Policy fragmentations and inconsistent support structures further compound these vulnerabilities, as do public narratives that frame migrants through hierarchies of deservingness. These barriers are not incidental. They form a durable edifice of exclusion. Despite operating within a challenging environment, newcomers are not merely surviving. They are actively reshaping the systems around them. The Reroute project documents this process as infrastructuring otherwise, highlighting the transformative power of everyday collective agency. Empowerment emerges through grassroots mobilizations and informal practices that address immediate needs while reconfiguring social and institutional relations from below. Identity-based networks, often centered on shared culture, language, or religion, serve as vital lifelines, providing access to housing, work, legal aid, and emotional support. In pursuit of economic autonomy, many newcomers turn to informal or semi-formal economic activities, small-scale entrepreneurship, and transnational trade. Grassroots and community networks play a pivotal role in bridging institutional gaps and facilitating access to services. Economic initiatives provide not only income but also opportunities for skill development and resilience. In response to housing insecurity, newcomers frequently adapt alternative housing arrangements such as informal rentals, cooperative housing, and squatting. These initiatives often operate in legal gray zones and remain vulnerable to criminalization and prosecution. Nonetheless, they embody empowerment in action. By creating functional and inclusive infrastructures from the bottom up, newcomers demonstrate the transformative potential of everyday collective agency. Newcomers are already building systems of mutual support. What they require is recognition, not replacement. Realizing the potential of empowerment requires coordinating actions across all levels of governance. At the EU level, policies must recognize and support newcomer-led organizations through tailored funding and capacity building. Bureaucratic procedures should be harmonized across member states, while informal economic contributions must be acknowledged to enable legal pathways for alternative employment and cooperative models. EU housing policies should also back newcomer-led solutions, even those in informal settings. At the national level, structural barriers must be dismantled. States should expand access to work and residency, support newcomer-led enterprises, and combat housing discrimination to ensure access to stable accommodation. At the local level, municipalities should reinforce newcomer-led organizations, facilitate inclusive integration hubs, encourage collaborations between newcomers and long-settled community residents, and offer targeted support for entrepreneurship and housing initiatives that provide fair and sustainable living conditions. Empowerment challenges the notion that newcomers must be integrated into pre-existing societal structures. It recognizes that newcomers are already actively building networks, contributing economically, and forging new forms of belonging. What is needed is not mere control, but more support. This shift from integration to incorporation to empowerment calls for a new policy perspective, one that centers newcomers as agents of change. Reroute provides a framework for this transformation, urging institutions to invest in and learn from the infrastructures newcomers are already developing. Thank you for your attention.